Book of Heaven, Volume 23, Part 16. March 8th, 1928. How God created man to keep him on his knees and to make him act as the repeater of his acts. How Jesus showed himself placing all the volumes written on his will, all ordered, in his heart. Love of Jesus for the writings and the good that they will do. How one who decides to live in the divine Fiat is bound with chains of light. I continued to remain all abandoned in the holy divine volition, following its innumerable acts as much as I could, since their multiplicity is such that many times I can neither follow them nor count them all, and I have to content myself with watching them, but not embracing them. Its activity surpasses the human attitude in an incredible way, and therefore it is not given to my littleness to do everything, but to do as much as I can, and never to go out from within the works of the divine Fiat. So while my mind wandered within the works of the divine volition, my sweet Jesus, moving in my interior, told me, "My daughter, our paternal goodness created man to keep him on our paternal knees, for us to enjoy him continuously, and for him to enjoy himself perennially with his Creator. And so that his enjoyments and ours might be stable, we kept him on our paternal knees. And since our will was to be his also, it brought the echo of all our acts into man's inmost being, whom we loved as our child. And our child, in hearing our echo, acted as the repeater of the acts of his Creator. What contentments did not form between him and us, as this creating echo of ours resounded in our child's inmost heart, forming in him the order of our acts, the harmony of our joys and happinesses, the image of our sanctity. What happy times for him and for us! But do you know who snatched this child, so loved by us, from our paternal knees? The human will. It took him so far away from us that he lost our creating echo and no longer knew anything of what his Creator was doing. And we lost the happiness of seeing our child happy and amusing himself on our paternal knees, because the echo of his will took over in him, that embittered him, tyrannized him with passions, the most degrading ones, such as to render him so unhappy as to arouse pity. This is precisely what it means to live in our will, to live on our paternal knees, under our care, at our expenses, in the opulence of our riches, joys, and happinesses. If you knew the contentment we feel in seeing the creature living on our knees, all attentive on hearing the echo of our word, the echo of our works, the echo of our steps, the echo of our love, to act as the repeater of them, you would be more attentive, so that nothing might escape you of our echo, to give us the contentment of seeing your littleness acting as the repeater of the acts of your Creator. On hearing this, I said to him, "My love, if one must live in your will by living on your paternal knees, one should not do anything, neither operate nor walk. Otherwise, how can one remain on your knees? And Jesus, no, no, one can do anything. Our immensity is such that she will find our paternal knees everywhere, ever ready for her acts, willing to hold her everywhere, clasped to our divine knees. More so, since what she does is nothing other than the echo of what we do. After this, I was feeling worried about these writings on the divine will, and my sweet Jesus made himself seen in my interior, holding all the volumes written on it, taking them in his hands, one by one, looking at them with such loving tenderness, as if his heart were about to burst. And as he took them, he placed them, all ordered, in his most holy heart. I was amazed in seeing with how much love he loved these writings, and with how much jealousy he enclosed them in his heart in order to keep them. And Jesus, in seeing my amazement, told me, "My daughter, if you knew how much I love these writings, they cost me more than the very creation and redemption. How much love and work I have put into these writings. They cost me very, very much. In them there is all the value of my will. They are the manifestation of my kingdom, and the confirmation that I want the kingdom of my divine will in the midst of creatures. The good that they do will be great. They will be like suns that will rise in the midst of the thick darkness of the human will, like lives that will put to flight death for the poor creatures. They will be the triumph of all my works, the most tender, the most convincing narration of how I loved and do love man. Therefore I love them with such jealousy that I will keep them in my divine heart, nor will I permit even a single word to be lost. What have I not put into these writings? Everything. Superabundant grace, light that illuminates, warms, fecundates, love that wounds, truths that conquer, attractions that enrapture, lives that will bring about the resurrection of the kingdom of my will. Therefore, you too appreciate them and hold them in that esteem that they deserve, and delight in the good that they will do. After this, I continued in my abandonment in the Fiat. I felt all invested by its endless light. And my adorable Jesus added, "My daughter, as the soul decides to live in my divine will, without giving life to her own any more, in order to be sure and to give her security, I bind her with chains of light. And I do this so as not to take away her free will, a gift given to the creature in creation. What I give once, I never take back, unless the creature herself rejects my gifts. And so I bind her with light in a way that if she wants to, she can go out whenever she wants. But in order to go out, she has to make an incredible effort, because these chains of light will invest all of her acts, and in each act of hers she will feel and see the beauty, the grace, the richness that this light communicates to her acts. It will form the enchantment and the true eclipse for the human will, in such a way that she will feel happy and honored to be bound with chains so noble that bring her so much good. And she will yearn for what is human, to have life no more in her acts, and will long with ardor for the divine volition to take its place. So she will feel free and bound, but not forced, rather spontaneous, of her own will, attracted by the great good that comes to her, in such a way as to see her acts surrounded by many circles of light that, forming chains, transform her into the light itself. And in each of her acts, the soul will emit many voices, harmonious and beautiful, like silvery sounds, that, wounding the hearing of all heaven, will make known that my divine will is operating in the creature. March 11th, 1928. Difference between Jesus and the Virgin. How the whole hidden life of Jesus in Nazareth was the recall of the kingdom of the divine will upon earth. How the human will is the font of good or of evil. I was thinking about what was the difference that passed between the Holy Virgin and my lovable Jesus, since in both of them the divine volition had its life, its full dominion, its kingdom. And my sweet Jesus, moving in my interior, told me, "My daughter, between myself and the celestial queen, one was the will that animated us, one the life. However, between her and me passed this difference. Between a house that is such that the sun enters into it from all sides, in a way that the light invests it, dominates it, and there is not one part of this house in which the light does not act as queen, and therefore it is prey to the light, receives always light, and grows under the influence of the light. And another house that possesses the sphere of the sun within itself. Therefore it does not receive the source of the light from outside, but possesses it inside. Is there not difference between one and the other? Now, this is the difference that passes between me and my mamma. She is the house invested by the light. She gave herself prey to it. And the sun of my will kept giving to her always, always. It nourished her with light, and she grew within the endless rays of the eternal sun of my Fiat. On the other hand, my humanity possessed within itself the sphere of the divine sun, its source that always arises without ever decreasing. And the sovereign queen drew from me the light that gave her life, and the glory of Queen of Light. Because one who possesses a good can be called queen of that good. After this, I was following my divine Fiat, praying my round in it, and as I arrived at the home of Nazareth, in which my lovable Jesus had conducted his hidden life, in order to follow his acts. I was saying to him, "My love, there is no act you do in which my I love you does not follow you, to ask you, by means of your acts, for the kingdom of your will. My I love you follows you everywhere, in the steps you take, in the words you speak, in the wood you hammer. And while you hammer the wood, may you hammer the human will, that it may be undone, and your divine will may rise again in the midst of creatures. My I love you flows in the water you drink, in the food you take, in the air you breathe, in the rivers of love that pass between you and your Mamma and Saint Joseph, in the prayers you do, in your ardent heartbeat, in the sleep you take. Oh, how I wish to be near you, to whisper to your ear, I love you, I love you. Oh, please let your kingdom come." Now, while I would have wanted my I love you to form a circle around all the acts of Jesus, he moved in my interior and told me, "My daughter, all of my hidden life, and such a long one, was nothing other than the recall of the kingdom of my divine will upon earth. I wanted to redo within myself all the acts that creatures were to do in it, to then hold them out to them. And I wanted to do this together with my Mamma. I wanted her always together with me in my hidden life, in order to form this kingdom. Two people had destroyed this kingdom of my divine fiat, Adam and Eve, and two more, myself and the height of the sovereign queen, were to redo it. So first I took care of the kingdom of my divine will, because the human will had been the first to offend mine by withdrawing from it. All other offenses came in the second degree, as the consequence of the first act. It is the human will that is the life or the death of the creature, her happiness or her tyranny and misfortune into which she hurls herself, her good angel that leads her to heaven, or the one who, transforming into a demon, hurls her into hell. All evil is in the will, as well as all good, because the will is like the font of life placed in the creature that can spring joys, happiness, sanctity, peace, virtue, or spurts from itself little fountains of troubles, of miseries, of sins, of wars that destroy all goods. Therefore, first I took care of the kingdom of my will in this hidden life for as long as 30 years, and then with my short public life, just 3 years, I took care of redemption. And while in forming the kingdom of my divine fiat, I had the celestial Mamma always near me. In my public life, I did without her presence, at least corporally, because for the kingdom of my fiat, I constituted myself king, and the Virgin queen, in order to be I first, and then she, the foundation of the kingdom that had been destroyed by the human will. See, then, how the kingdom of my divine will, by necessity, by reason, and as a result, was formed with my coming upon earth in the first order. Nor could I have formed the redemption had I not satisfied my celestial Father for the first offensive act that the creature had done against him. Therefore, the kingdom of my will is formed. There is nothing left but to make it known. And this is why I do nothing but follow with you and hold out to you my acts that I did in order to form it, accompanying your acts, so that the foundation of mine may flow in them. I am on guard, so that your will may have no life, and so that mine may be free. In sum, I am acting as with a second mother of mine, recalling all the acts done together with the Virgin, in order to deposit them in you. Therefore be attentive to follow my will in everything. May everything be for the glory of God and for the fulfillment of his most holy will. Deo gratias. You have reached the end of the Book of Heaven, Volume 23. Fiat.